I want to take an audience question from Case. This one's, listen up, everybody. Investors do not see attractive comparables. So this is a question related to investment, like who's investing in NAMs. Investors want to see clinical assets. If we don't create significant incentives, much of this legislation will be missed opportunity. We need to evaluate which existing frameworks, an example, orphan disease, PRVs, as we've used NAMs to enable before, and orphan diseases experienced a similar economic incentivization hurdle. So it is likely the best framework. Private investors will not be drawn to this sector. Are there other frameworks that we should look to for examples? Any reactions?
Yeah, I think the questioner is on point here in terms of the economics of this. But we can offer a few examples, like the FDA shift again in evaluating monoclonal antibodies. In the safety assessment, that gives a lot of confidence because the FDA did not make that decision out of thin air. That's based on 100 years of data that shows that actually, if we switch to NAM, it's better, right? So these type of confidence building measures that are sanctioned by regulatory authorities are very important. And if we delve deeper into what the questioner is asking, yes, I mean 95% of rare diseases, 95% of the 7,000 plus, 7,500 plus, do not have one single FDA-approved drugs because of the economics mostly, because these are relatively small population groups. The investment in those fields it may not be, given the current paradigm, may not be beneficial to big companies, and that's a very promising avenue for NAMs, as the questioner did put it. Actually, what other frameworks can happen? Well, we have common diseases also, not rare diseases, common diseases that are suffering from enormous failure rate, like urology drugs, 96% failure rate in clinical trials. So there will be a prioritization scheme to begin testing those. Oncology drugs, 95%, neurology, 94%, again, failure rate. So there would be these high failure rate disease domains would benefit also tremendously from these type of approaches. And finally, and experiments have been done, for example, at the Wyss Institute in terms of national security and our ability to combat pandemics and viral outbreaks. For example, the hydroxychloroquine, people knew very quickly using NAMS technology at the time that hydrochloroquine is not going to be effective in human using these technologies in a couple of weeks before doing it in animals or any other methods. So there are different domains. Again, I'm trying to stay focused on the question itself. There are different domains ripe for investments. I believe that are plentiful even right now with our current status.
Thanks for answering that. Does anyone else have a comment on that? I do have another question from an audience member we can move on to. So this is from David. Thanks for sharing this question, David. Totally in favor of using NAMs where relevant, but big pharma is risk averse and will still continue to run robust packages of animal data, whereas small biotechs may not be able to do both, to confirm or validate the NAMs, right? Or need to move too fast to also perform these studies. So who will pick up the flag and really leverage or push use of NAMs over the next few years?
Yeah.
So small biotechs.
Yeah. I mean, I think that comes down to risk taking, right? If you go back and look at, 1900s to now, right? Starting from where the US FDA was instituted in 1906 to to Modernization Act 2.0 and 3.0, right? Remember with the big issue, safety issue, thalidomide, right? There was a lot of guidance around, GLP. In spite of all that, over the years, 100 years, if you can look at NCE, new chemical entity per dollar billion, it's only gone down, right? Of course, that was done for the right reason, protecting human safety. At the end of the day, right, our important goal are three things. One is safety, efficacy in the right patient population, and commercial potential, right? Of course, the first two questions, it's very important. Having said that, like I said before, companies, they want to move the molecules quickly to human, right? And there's a practical element to it about regulators. Will they agree, not agree? So it's great to see now the environment is so favorable, the regulators are talking to each other. Hopefully the guidance will come out together. And companies don't have to always do the checkbox exercise anyway, I'm going to do it, right? So I do think there's going to be some element of risk-taking from companies as well to deploy these NAM tools, to not do the experiments just to do it, right? And they're already doing it.
Sure, and I think if there can be some regulatory bodies or groups that can help to sort of de-risk some of those NAMs so that these biotechs they might want to use NAMs, but in a lower risk fashion, hopefully. I think that would be something.
And that's happening, and that is happening now on a large scale. There are several initiatives by the government, to be fair, that are investing in this type of qualification and validation, VQN and others as well, but without really serious investments in the development of the technology itself by the government. Again, given the numbers, the differential between investment in animal-based versus NAMs, we are going to be slow in moving forward. And finally, the economic benefit has been done in certain aspects of NAMs. For example, Emulate did a study not too long time ago, a few years ago, where they showed that there is a productivity gain in terms of, I think, $24 billion for the entire industry if the toxicity assessment was or incorporated organ on a chip. Again, that's one sliver of NAMs. That's not the whole NAM technology, but organ on a chip in its proper context can save billions of dollars to the industry. And finally, there is an issue of democratizing the process. I mean, why are we just talking about drug developers who are in Western countries who are able to shell 20 million or 30 million or 50 million for a phase 1 or phase 2 clinical trials? What about the rest of the world? These type of technologies will democratize the process. It will allow someone from Peru or someone from any other part of the world to begin to dream to invest in a reasonable amount of money to investigate a particular drug and advance the field. So again, that will remove the monopoly. These type of tools will remove the monopoly that has been and the risk capital, the financial risk that is taken by big companies. And Wall Street had convinced people that there is a risk capital. If you invest somewhere, then you have to lose, and that will make up by the 2-3 blockbuster drugs. I'm talking about big pharma. They will make up the difference. But the small biotechs, many of them cannot survive like that. And the regular folks who are scientists and thrilled to be discovering something certainly are out of the game right now. So these NAMs, I mean, there's a socio-economical element to these NAMs that we should not neglect as well. It will open the entire world for competition.